Thank you very much for staying on the show. Welcome back. Now, authorities are on high alert to screen passengers at the Kotoka International Airport to avert possible spread of the coronavirus in the country. This follows a reported case of the virus in neighboring Côte d'Ivoire. Aviation correspondent Sheila Tamaklo says thermal scanners, isolation units and ambulances are on standby at the airport. There's more in this report.
Every day, thousands of people ply Ghana's main airport, the Kotoka International Airport. But there's a threat: the outbreak of the coronavirus, which has left the world in a panic.
Reports that we have so far indicates that the death toll for this particular disease in China is at 26, and over 830 persons have also been affected within the same country. Subsequently, the disease is reported to have spread out to about 8 other countries, which has caused some amount of alert globally on how to check and curb the spread of this new deadly virus. Already, neighboring Ivory Coast has reported its first suspected case of the coronavirus, leaving questions about how prepared Ghana is in containing the virus. We put these questions to the head of Port Health at the Kotoka International Airport, Gideon Akwe. So far here at Kotoka Terminal 3, has there been any suspected cases, or have you had any issues so far here at the Terminal 3?
No, there's no suspected case as at now.
So for now, though, what are the protocols in place to check the passengers that are coming in to ensure that we don't have any incidences?
When they come, we have the health declaration form. This is the form we give to all the travelers or the passengers. We give to the travelers or the passengers to fill at the upper arrival before getting down to the screening points. We have thermal scanners. So after filling the form, when you go to where the thermal scanner is, the thermal scanner will pick your temperature. When your temperature is above the threshold, that is, when it is above 37.5, we have a light in the thermal scanner. It will show red. So when it shows red, quickly we have an officer who will politely ask you to get aside the queue. The officer will interview you. Then we use this non-contact thermometer to re-check your temperature again. If still it is above the threshold, we have F-team here. We have the Port Health, airport clinic, and the ambulance. So quickly we have to inform the airport clinic, the ambulance. Then we also have to inform the International Health Regulations focal person.
The team was granted rare access to the arrival section of the airport. Here we noticed something unusual. Customs and immigration officers were all in protective gloves and nose masks.
We were given directives from our commissioner and the sector commander, Madam Molly Awaji, that we need to intensify our protective measures here.
Chief Revenue Officer in charge of Terminal 3, T.D. Williams, explains the high alert rate of officers at the airport since the outbreak of the coronavirus.
Wearing our gloves, as you've seen, and the mouth mask. In addition to that, we make sure that even the goods that we handle, whether passengers are with them or not, we at least wear our hand gloves to ensure that we are protected. After that, officers are required to take some kind of hygienic measures, wash their hands, and as you can see on the table, we have the hand sanitizers. We have to use it periodically.
Are you by any chance fumigating or anything of that sort to check some of these things coming in?
Yes, the airport authorities are always regularly fumigating. I believe they are taking immediate measures. The Port Health Authority officer came to me this morning and assured me that they are going to fumigate the areas where we work.
Barbara Sam is the Assistant Superintendent of Ghana Immigration.
So Ghana Immigration Service, this is a health issue, so the Ministry of Health is handling this. But for us as a service, we have put certain measures in place to prevent our officers from getting this virus. And the measures are, we've provided them with face masks, we've given them gloves, and then we've also told them to wash their hands regularly, and then also look out for symptoms when passengers arrive and report the passenger immediately to Port Health, and also to be alert. That's all.
Despite these measures, however, some still argue that passengers traveling from China should be quarantined and rigorously screened at the airport. Elsewhere, the US, France and Russia are among several countries trying to evacuate its nationals from the epicenter of the virus, Wuhan, as well as tracking Chinese nationals in the past few weeks.
Reporting for Joy Business, my name is Sheila Tamaklu.
Meanwhile, Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry Carlos Ahinkra is cautioning traders to be conscious of areas they ply their trade in the wake of the spread of the coronavirus from China. He tells Joy Business government will apply all the necessary tools to prevent the disease from spreading into the country. Mr. Ahinkra says traders must be extra vigilant.
And I've seen on the media landscape what is going on in China, but I wouldn't have any evidence to support. But however, you can't take some of these things for granted. I will take opportunity of this engagement to inform our traders that they should be careful. Those who intend going to China, I would say just watch where you go and let's be careful how we interact. Even though I think they seem to have the situation under control, you know that when it should come to our part of the world, it will be very, very disastrous. Unfortunately, I hear that it is spreading more than we thought. Cases have been reported in the US, South Korea, and so on. And even as close as Cote d'Ivoire, we hear that some cases that have been detected in just our next door, which doesn't spell too good for us. So let us be careful how we go around some of this information when we hear them.
All right, so some importers have already expressed concern this situation would impact prices in the short term. My colleague Charles Aiti has been sampling the views of some of these importers. We'll get his story shortly to you. Away from that, government has not placed any ban on the importation of cement or siting of cement processing factories in the country. That's according to Deputy Trade Minister and Industry Carlos Ahinkra, who has debunked reports government has banned importation of cement. Speaking to Joy Business, Carlos Ahinkra disclosed that government has rather put in place measures to discourage the importation of the product. This, he said, would help control demand and supply of cement.
You would see from the past 3 years when we came into government, we have managed to control and, of course, discourage the importation of cement to prevent any competition with these people. If we allow importation of cement, you can be rest assured that the 6.5 million consumption of locally manufactured cement wouldn't have happened. So we have managed to find a way to discourage the importation of cement, and I'm choosing my word very advisedly here. We discourage, we have not banned anybody that wants to.
There are about 8 cement manufacturing companies in the country with a production capacity that far exceeds local consumption. The Trade Ministry says the intervention to reduce importation is part of measures to make the industry competitive. Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry Carlos Ahinkra said the move will also enhance competition in the industry.
Discourage, we have not banned. Anybody that wants to import can decide to go and import if it goes through the right channel and the right processes. But we discourage people from importing because we are finding it even difficult for the locally manufactured ones to be absorbed in the system. So basically what we are saying is, if anybody decides to come into the country to invest in cement production, if they come to us for advice, what we'll let them understand is to explain to them what the cement scenario is, how we are even not able to absorb what the 8 companies look currently producing cement, their product, and if the person would want to go into another venture.
He also disclosed that initial policies that were put in place increased the country's consumption levels.
You would see from the past 3 years when we came into government, we have managed to control and, of course, discourage the importation of cement to prevent any competition with these people. If we allow importation of cement, you can be rest assured that the 6.5 million consumption of locally manufactured cement wouldn't have happened.
The Ghana International Trade Commission is, however, working on several unfair trade practices against some cement manufacturing firms.
And in another development, former director of the Geological Survey Authority says Ghana does not currently have enough limestone deposits to produce clinker, a major raw material for local cement production. John Ejedudu adds there is currently one cement company mining using and wholly materials from Ghana. Ghana has 4 limestone deposits, with the richest from the western region. Odile and Tiamwa has been interacting with Mr. Dudu in Accra.
It will not be possible to find every raw material in Ghana to feed this 8 cement plants. It may be quite difficult. What I would say is that there are about 4 major deposits in Ghana. 3 are on the Votian Basin, Otekpolu, Bupe, and the one at Bongoda near Wale Wale. They are all found on the Votian Basin. The other one is a marine, the genesis for is a marine occurrence, and it's made, or it was formed as a result of accumulation of oyster shells, clay and sand, forming a rock. And therefore, because of the organic content, it is far richer than those of the Votian Basin.
So if you say that we cannot be able to source all these materials locally, you have mentioned the main components and we have the deposits. Why can't we require that all the 8 companies source their materials from here? What is missing?
Yes, it's a good question. The answer is that these deposits, some of them are being mined, some of them are at a different stage of exploration. I know that these are companies which are producing, and it will take some time to sometimes raise the level of exploration to a mineable level. And therefore, it will take some time. As a result, we may not be able to have, or because the current data, well, I would say the department possesses, is not, there is not enough reserves, mineable reserves in the country to share among all these companies. That is what I would say. And from experience, having worked on cement for so many years, I can definitely say that it will not be enough.
Meanwhile, a dealer in building hardware is advocating perfect competition in the cement manufacturing business to beat down prices in building hardware. Now, Chief Executive of Nana KJC Company Limited is advocating the introduction of stiff competition in the cement industry to have an impact on the market prices. According to him, there's a need for government to open up the market to allow more investors to reduce the monopoly enjoyed by manufacturers.
Cement have so many types of cements. We have the 42.5R, we have the 42.5N, and we have the 32.5R and 32.5N. And there's another new one has come. You know, if you want to mold blocks, we have the one which you can specifically, the one you can use it for the blocks. If you want, you lay the foundation, you are laying the blocks. The foundation one, the cement that qualify to use it, we have different. So any building or any structure like roads, buildings, and so forth, the cement brand that they have, you can use whatever will fix, and it will be number one. That's why I'm saying that. You know, the country is growing. If you have a wife and you have 1 child, the next 2 years you will have 2 child. At the end of the day, 3, 4 years, you have about 2, 3 child. So the country, people in the country is growing. If the country is growing, we have to get more expanding. If I say more expanded, do you understand? So we want investors to come in so that we do challenges in the business. When the challenges in the business is tough, the price will drop and it will come down.
This is Business Live. We're coming back shortly after this break. Thank you very much for staying. Welcome back. Now, some importers who frequent China to do business are concerned over possible hike in prices of goods in the short term following the coronavirus outbreak that has already hit neighboring Côte d'Ivoire. For now, government has charged traders to postpone all planned trips to China, while China itself locks down some major cities to curtail the impact of the disease. Meanwhile, some importers here in the Central Business District of Accra have been sharing with Joy Business how the coronavirus is indirectly impacting businesses.
Importers who frequent China for their goods, the coronavirus poses a threat to their business. Patrick Osebroja is an importer. He fears the outbreak could impact prices on retail space in the short term.
Definitely, it means goods will not be coming into the system, into Ghana. And as a result of that, it will create some shortage. And that shortage may lead to some price hikes. And that will be the impact that we anticipate, at least for the immediate future.
Moani Buhari deals in electricals. She's had to cancel her annual trip to China due to the coronavirus. With a limited stock of electrical wares, she's concerned about the impact of the virus on her business. So I'm here with Moani Buhari, one of the leading importers here at the Central Business District of Accra. She has concerns. She's also disturbed. But listen to your particular story. Help me understand. How concerned are you as an importer?
I think the fumigation has a role here because we bring our containers of waste, you know. And when you bring a container, you find out with dust and stuff all over it. And I heard this thing is airborne. So if there's a dust covering the curtains and I touch it, definitely it's going to affect me. So fumigation has to work.
In Ghana so far, the Ministry of Health has issued a public alert on the virus that is airborne and transmitted from humans to humans. The alert includes surveillance and quarantine centers across the country's borders, while the airports being beefed up. Meanwhile, Chinese provinces, including the neighboring Wuhan, which is the epicenter of the coronavirus epidemic, have all been shut down. For Joy Business, Charles Aite reporting.
So we're closely monitoring the situation and bring you up to date with the stories as they unfold. Now, on the other hand, government has begun its Eurobond roadshow today with the objective of raising up to $3 billion at the end of the exercise. The investor engagement is taking the team to New York in the U.S., and the exercise is expected to end in London. George Rafe has more on this and also how the pricing will be impacted after rating agency Moody's changed Ghana's rating outlook to positive from stable.
Team is, however, hoping to close this exercise in London. The government team is led by Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, as well as officials from the Bank of Ghana, including some of their technical team and the Ministry of Finance. This roadshow for some is seen as a mere formality, looking at the fact that there have already been some pre-roadshow to test the market, which was jointly supervised by managers of the offer, that is JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, Standard Chartered Bank PLC, Standard Chartered Bank Group. These were the same institutions that helped the country secure its last Eurobond cash in March last year, which got some very high investor interest. There are some who have argued that they have what it takes to help the country secure the projected amount of $3 billion. However, there are some that are worried about the timing of this exercise due to the recent debt concerns raised by the IMF, election year-related issues, as well as our current fiscal position. Speaking to Joy Business, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta says he doesn't think that these concerns are well placed.
You know, we were quite clear about managing the macros and the fiscals through the past 3 years, and we're also very conservative in what we did for 2020. So we really don't expect anything untoward, and we will stick to our commitments to make sure that we stay within what Parliament has appropriated for us.
But for some, many things might have changed that could be in the favor of government in terms of possibly securing a good rate during this Eurobond exercise. One can talk about the decision by the rating agencies Moody's to actually change Ghana's outlook from stable to positive. This is more of an assurance that the environment has improved for government to better meet its debt obligations, even after an IMF program. Also, yields on emerging market bonds have declined marginally due to news of US and China close to a trade deal. The country's 2029 Eurobond, for instance, has also hit a record low as at last week. All these, some analysts say, could impact positively on the Eurobond roadshow in terms of its pricing. According to the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, government is planning to use the funds raised from this exercise to finance some infrastructure projects in the budget as well as its debt obligations.
So, international ratings agency Moody's decision to assign a positive outlook reflects rising confidence that the country's institutions and policy settings will foster improved macroeconomic and fiscal stability over the medium term, in part as a consequence of the reforms implemented under the recent IMF reforms program. Economist Courage Boti, who spoke earlier on the marketplace, said the current rating should not be misconstrued as an upgrade. All right, so just before we take leave of you, it's now time to take a look at the results to our polls today. We've been asking the question, and the question says, government says the latest Moody's B3 rating shows economy is back on track. Do you agree? Well, the results show that 30% says yes, they agree with the latest polls or the latest rating by Moody's, while 70% says no. All right, so you can still keep your answers coming on the poll to close in about 24 hours' time. And that's it for Business Live. My name is Emmanuel Boaji. We are free. Have a good evening.